again, everyone. My name is Lori Bumbaco. I'm an oncology dietitian, and I'm back yet again with another food holiday to celebrate the month of July. Now, I promised last month that this month's food holiday would be one of the best yet. It happens to be my favorite one so far. There's more to come. But I thought, since we're about to celebrate a special holiday that was inaugurally created in 1984, all thanks to President Ronald Reagan, why not do a nutritious spin on that food holiday and offer you some suggestions for a cancer protective recipe, a way to cool off in the summer heat with some delicious yet nutritious ingredients, all to help add to your cancer protective diet. So by now, have you guessed what that food holiday is? I will share it with you. It is National Ice Cream Day. And this year it falls on July 17th. It technically is the third Sunday in the month of July, but instead of ice cream, we're going to do a cancer protective spin on that recipe, and we're going to make something called nice cream. And that takes advantage of a creamy cancer protective fruit, and it just whirls it up into this magical creation that I promise you, you will enjoy from here on out. So if you haven't already checked out the Judy Nicholson Kidney Cancer Foundation website or the YouTube channel, you will find a plethora of other nutrition videos and recipes, all thanks to my opportunity to be able to present and to create some ideas for you to consider. So please check out both of those resources. I promise you, you'll be so happy that you considered adding something delicious and nutritious to your daily routine. Okay, so let's get started, right? It's time for nice cream. So, nice cream. Well, why do we even want to consider nice cream? Well, Americans, they do love their ice cream, right? And according to my research, the average American eats 20 pounds of ice cream every year. That's a lot of ice cream, right? And our most popular flavor here is vanilla. We happen to be the biggest consumers of ice cream in the entire world. Is that any surprise to anyone? I don't think so either. Now, why should we consider nice cream over ice cream? Maybe not every time, but once in a while. Why not consider nice cream? Well, if you have a serving of ice cream, and it's only 2/3 of a cup, a very small serving size if you ask me, you're going to get over 300 calories, about 12 grams of saturated fat, and over 2.5 teaspoons of added sugar. So that really packs a punch of calories, but also the type of calories that we may not necessarily want to consume often. If we replace those with ingredients that are cancer protective, and I can't wait to show you, what we're going to do is we're going to automatically drop the calorie content, which is pretty helpful as we're trying to address our weight. So if we want to manage our weight, which is related to cancer protection, then we certainly want to be calorie conscious. But not just calorie conscious, we want to consume quality calories. So the type of calories we consume, we want them to be nutrient dense, meaning that they supply a good amount of vitamins, minerals, as well as cancer fighters. So things like antioxidants and phytochemicals. And boy, do I have a recipe to share in order for you to accomplish that. Now, what's really important, the most important ingredient in this recipe is banana. It's the good old banana. And we're going to use a couple in order to make the base recipe, and that's going to give you about 2 servings. Now, bananas are a good source, actually an excellent source of potassium. And potassium is an important mineral that most Americans do not eat enough of, and really important for regulating our blood pressure. So if we have been affected by kidney cancer, we may also be concerned about our blood pressure. And so adding this recipe is one way to help add the potassium into your diet. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to get started and show you how to make this recipe. It is super easy. I promise you, anyone can do it. So in this demo kitchen, I have my favorite gadget. It's the bullet, the NutriBullet. If you don't have one and you have a high-powered blender or a processor, that will work just fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 bananas, about medium to large size. We're going to peel them and we're going to slice them into 1/2-inch rounds. Then we're going to freeze them. And that's what we blend to make our nice cream. Now, we don't want to just take any bananas. We want very ripe bananas, like the brown spotty ones, because they're going to impart the most flavor, which is really important for us if we want to make a tasty recipe, right? And we also want to slice them small into these 1/2-inch rounds because they're going to be easier to blend in whatever gadget we're using in the kitchen. So I already have in my bowl here about 2, it might be a little bit more because I'm going to really enjoy this later. It's hot here where I am. About 2 large bananas that are frozen and they're already pre-sliced for me. Now I've seen some people do this. They freeze the banana whole without peeling it. That's really hard to work with once it's out of the freezer. So we want to peel it first. We can slice it up, put it into little individual bags, and whenever you want this treat, you're good to go. Because this is really good fresh, when it's freshly made. That's when it's going to taste the best. Now, this is our base recipe. And there's a really great bonus about this recipe too, by the way. So we're going to add just those frozen bananas. I like to add a little bit of vanilla extract. I don't even measure. I just add. If you wanted to, you can add about a teaspoon to your 2 medium to large bananas. And I like to add a pinch of salt or 2. Now, if you're salt conscious, you can certainly omit that in this recipe. The salt sometimes kicks up the flavor a little bit, so you're going to get a little bit more sweetness when you incorporate that salt. So we're going to put that cap on our NutriBullet, give it a good flip. Now, you may want to add some liquid to this as well. I would say maybe a tablespoon at a time because you don't want to over blend this. You want the consistency to be almost like soft serve ice cream, right? You don't want it to be runny like a smoothie. So a tablespoon at a time, and you could add milk or a dairy alternative, and that would lend to some creaminess in this recipe. So I'm going to blend this slowly at first. I don't have that option on a bullet. But if you have a blender, you can start it slow, let it blend for about 30 seconds, and then you're going to kick it up to high power. So let's see what I can create here. Now, as is the case with most blending, you might have to stop at times and just scrape down the sides. All right, so I'm going to do that one time here with my handy dandy little spatula. And this is where probably I would add, I noticed it probably could use a little bit of liquid, but I'm just going to try and keep blending it, right? That's what's great about being in the kitchen. It's just experimenting and having fun and knowing that the final product will be great. Don't have to worry. It already smells so good. I love frozen fruit, by the way. I'm going to scrape 1 or 2 more times. I added quite a good amount of bananas, so that's what's happening here. And you can see, though, it's starting to form that consistency that we're looking for, where it's going to be this scoopable, soft serve version of ice cream, but even better. The vanilla is really coming through. I love it. You can use different extract in this recipe, right? And that's what I'm going to talk about as soon as I'm done blending. What you can also do, if you want to, I took these literally right out of the freezer. If you want to, you can take them out and let them thaw for a minute or 2. So that's going to soften them up even more. And it won't require the use of liquid, right? Because the liquid's going to kind of come out of the bananas. I'm just going to blend it one more time just so that you can see. It's so good. I've literally done this with just using a fork because my bananas were so ripe that I froze them, took them out, let them thaw a little bit, and I just mixed it with my fork. Super simple. So even the kiddos could get involved in the kitchen if you want, because they're going to like this recipe too. All right, let's give one more blend so I can show you. Ta-da! Okay, so this is our base recipe, all right? And this is great as is. If you want, think of it as like a vanilla soft serve. Delicious, really good stuff. And I'm just going to take a little bit out so you can see. It's like scoopable. It's so good. But this is really a starting point in my opinion. So if you want to keep it as is, amazing, delicious, super simple, easy to do, right? But you can kick it up a notch. So you can add a lot of different flavors onto this base recipe, right? So what I'm going to do is make a chocolate ice cream. It only seems appropriate, right? So all I'm going to do is add some cacao powder. And this is about 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to add that after I've made my base recipe. It's important to start with the base, and then you're going to add in your desired extras. So we're going to turn this vanilla ice cream into a chocolate version. And that's right, I did use cacao powder. There is cocoa powder if you want to use that as well. Cacao powder is just slightly less processed than cocoa powder, and you'll find it in most stores. And it retains more of the polyphenols that are naturally present in the cocoa bean. And we know that they are anti-inflammatory and exert cancer protective properties. So this is why you hear all about the good news about chocolate, especially the less refined versions of chocolate. So here is I'm going to scoop some out, my chocolate flavored ice cream. You can see it's soft. It's sort of like soft serve. It's stuck in my ice cream scoop. So I'm going to make sure I get that out because I want to enjoy this. Now you could do other flavors, as I mentioned. So in the freezer, I'm just going to pull that out now. I made a berry flavored ice cream. So what I did is I just added to the base, when I was blending the base, I added some frozen mixed berries. Now what I did is I put it into a little individual container and I froze that. So this is now more like a hard ice cream, right? One that you'll need to scoop out. You may need to let it thaw for a minute or two, or it may be scoopable. So let's take some of that out. Oh, it's not ready yet. But this is going to be much tougher, right? Because it's frozen, which is how some people prefer their ice cream. And so I'm going to hold that up to the camera for you to see as well. I already ate some. There's a nice big chunk missing. But you could do berry ice cream as an option as well. And what I really like is the idea of using some nut butters with this. So just like I added the cocoa powder after I made the base, you could add some peanut butter or almond butter. So delicious. You could add cocoa with the nut butters to make like a chocolate peanut butter ice cream. That would be great too. Or you could take it in an entirely different direction. Like you can use green matcha tea and use the powder. You can add some mint or mint extract. You could add some coconut. The sky's the limit in terms of your options. I also like to top my ice cream, right? Let's just keep adding more nutrition and adding more flavor. So I have here some cocoa nibs or cacao nibs, right? And this is just chopped up cacao beans. They have a nice, really kind of bitter flavor. We can put them right on top. You could also add any of your nuts and seeds that you like. whether it be pecans or walnuts or almonds. I have pistachios here that I often like to add. I always pull out my hemp seeds. We know they're packed with plant proteins, a great little way to add some crunch and texture, but also add more nutrition in the plant world, which we know are super cancer protective. I also have some unsweetened shredded coconut. The sky's the limit, like I shared. You could really have your way and have a nice cream day. So I hope you enjoyed the demo today, all about nice cream. Super simple to make, really just using a handful of ingredients that you probably already have, and really worth the delicious creation that you're going to make. Consider this as an option to infuse more cancer protective ingredients into your diet. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next month. We're going to celebrate yet again another super duper food holiday.